Welcome back to the Ninth Gym program, and today we are going to be looking over the original Players' Cup top teams. We have the top 16 here, and we're going to be looking over the teams because, well, we're playing in the same series, Series 5, as you can see here, in 2020 VGC 2020 for the Players' Cup 2, which happens this upcoming weekend. So I thought, might as well look at the stuff, all the teams that topped, since we're going to be playing in the same format anyway, so we might as well shine light on all the teams that did well. So I'm on victoryroadvgc.com, great resource for looking up tournament results and teams that top cut tournaments. I'll link this exact page down in the description below if you want to go and look for it, look through it yourself. But yeah, this happened late August. Here the final stage was 2020 or 22nd through the 23rd, which is when they cut these 16 players down to just one victor and a runner-up, and other people that made the top 4, top 8, and stuff. So yeah, this is exactly what we're going to be seeing as we go on to the Players' Cup 2. So let's look at some teams. So first off, we have Santino here in first place. He won with Colossal. I don't think this is something super surprising to anybody because it was super surprising when it happened. Still is great, an amazing feat to win this big tournament, this big online tournament with Colossal, which was, at the time like a tier 2 kind of idea, like something that you would be like, oh yeah, you could see that at top tournaments, but kind of surprising to see it get first. Now, the rest of the Pokemon on the team are pretty basic. You have Togekiss, Dragapult, Rillaboom, Incineroar, and Urshifu as well. Urshifu wasn't very, very seen at this time either. Throughout Series 6, obviously, we see, Urshifu a lot, so now players are going to be a little bit more aware of, like, what it's capable of and stuff, but yeah. I mean, as we'll just scroll through here real quick, you see a lot of Togekiss, a lot of Dragapult, and a lot of Incineroar, which is, like, pretty not surprising. A good bit of Primarina, Rotom Wash, Ferrothorn, P2s, and yeah, that's like the most common Pokemon. We see, like, Rillaboom, Tyranitar, Amoonguss scattered, but yeah, those are the most seen Pokemon. So let's talk about this team. So it got first place. It has Togekiss Dragapult as a good mode, and it also has Dragapult Colossal as a good mode, and Urshifu Colossal if your opponent doesn't have redirection. But this is a format where almost everybody has redirection. You have Amoonguss, you have Togekiss, you have Clefairy, all these really, really good, redirection Pokemon. So yeah, a lot of the time it's going to be Colossal Dragapult, and we saw that in finals here, and I believe, there's not a link for finals here. But you can find that pretty easily probably on, on YouTube. So yeah, just like look up the player, Santino Tarquinio. I'm sorry if I messed that up. I probably did. But yeah, the finals was really, intense. Like, Santino and Jisak. I'm not going to pronounce these names anymore, guys. Anyway, so yeah, it's pretty interesting, like playable Pokemon. A very good core here. You have a Fire, Water, Grass core, which is really good. You have, your Togekiss Dragapult, and as well as Colossal. So a lot of different good modes. And Colossal's, damage output for the next, multiple turns is actually absolutely insane with the residual damage of, Volcalith. Like, I wouldn't expect to not see, Colossal. So definitely have something for that. It's kind of a hard matchup to deal with, to be honest. Like, you just have to kill it, which is, pretty hard to do. I mean, they go for Surf and Volcalith turn 1, and even if you shut down the if you kill the Colossal that turn, you still have the residual damage for the next following turn. So that's it's very strong. Enough about Santino's win. Congrats, Santino. That was a crazy win. You won with Colossal. That's awesome. Let's look at some more teams. So in second place we have a Clefairy, Dragapult, as well as Primarina and Ferrothorn, Incineroar, and Urshifu. So it's interesting seeing Primarina and Ferrothorn at this, in this series without a Trick Room setter. And I might be wrong. Clefairy might actually know Trick Room, but I've never seen Clefairy use Trick Room. I don't believe it does. But yeah, you definitely, Ferrothorn is interesting to see on a non-Trick Room hybrid team, but of course definitely he has a mid-speed Pokemon being the Incineroar, and then he has slow Pokemon being the Clefairy, Primarina, and the Ferrothorn. And Clefairy can get after you, which is something that's pretty interesting for against like Trick Room teams, like very strong Trick Room teams, you'll see that they're going to go for Trick Room, and then you can bring your Clefairy and after you your own Pokemon, and then you're fast under Trick Room once again. So that is another really cool thing. But we do, Clefairy and Dragapult is a really strong lead. It gives you a Fairy and Dragon core with that Steel Pokemon being Ferrothorn to, complete one of the basic typing cores. So that's really strong. Urshifu, I believe this is the Dark Urshifu. I might be wrong. But that does really well against Dusclops, and in my opinion, I think Dusclops is a more consistent Trick Room Pokemon than P2. But P2 definitely, has shown off. It's very, very strong. It's better for hybrid teams, like more so, because Dusclops, is really good under Trick Room, but it's not doing a whole lot without like Will-O-Wisp and stuff. And if it's just a Will-O-Wisp machine or Nightshade, like that's a pretty mediocre Pokemon under Trick Room. Of course, it's very bulky. But so is P2. So, P2 is very good under Trick Room. But yeah, Primarina and Ferrothorn both like Trick Room a lot. So it's pretty interesting to see no Trick Room, combination here. So yeah, but still really, really good stuff to GSOC. I suck at names, but yeah. Next we have Nico, Dave Cogneta. Now this is a really, really good player that I've seen, a lot, and I've been following him in VGC 2020. He's very, very strong player in VGC 2020. And as you see here, he is running that kind of, hybrid team of like a fast Pokemon with the Dragapult and Terrakion, but then like mid-speed Pokemon with Rillaboom and Incineroar, and then slower mid-speed Pokemon with P2 and Primarina as a really good hybrid engine. Like you'll play against Togekiss Dragapult, and then you have like a P2, like a reliable P2 Trick Room engine for Primarina to take advantage of, and then Incineroar and Rillaboom are really good against fast Pokemon as well with that under Trick Room because they're mid-speed. Like you just destroy things like Cinderace, Togekiss, Dragapult, and even like mid-fast speed Pokemon, things like Excadrill without Sandrush and like Duraludon and stuff. So yeah, it's really strong. This is an archetype that I've been kind of messing with. P2 Primarina, I think is really strong, and with Incineroar and Rillaboom in the back, like that's a really, really powerful core. You just add the two fast Pokemon, which he did, and then yeah, it's very strong. So definitely, makes sense to get third place. A great player playing a really interesting team that has a great hybrid Trick Room mode, or just like can play fast if it wants to. So it's a really good team, and yeah, I like P2 Primarina a lot in this in our current meta, or in Series 5 meta. In fourth place we have Conan. Togekiss, Dragapult, Excadrill, the TED core. That's not something you don't see. It's very, very common. But it also has the Incineroar, Amoonguss, and Tyranitar. Now, if you have been following my channel, I did cover this exact team like this week. It's a very common team, and it's very strong. But it's common for a reason, and it's because it's so strong. You have a slow Pokemon being the Amoonguss that's really good under Trick Room. If your opponent sets Trick Room and doesn't really have a good answer to Amoonguss, you can just run away with the game with sporing everything until Trick Room's gone, and then you bring in your really fast, strong Pokemon, like either the, Togekiss Dragapult archetype or the Sand Core, which is really, really strong. Also, Incineroar is like a really good Pokemon in Trick Room as well, just because, it's not great against a hard Trick Room, but yeah, it's very good against like the best hard Trick Room, which is Hatterene, Psy Spam. So it's really good. I like that a lot. Although Tyranitar, Dusclops is also very, very strong, and Incineroar is good against that because you can make it like -1, but you don't outspeed it after Trick Room, so you can't Parting Shot it before it attacks again, which will then kill the Incineroar even at +1 only. So yeah. But yeah, this is a very, common archetype you'll see, the TED core with Tyranitar as well as like Incineroar and Amoonguss. It's a very common core you'll see. Not taking anything away from the player, you still have to be really, really good to pilot this team because the mirror match is really hard and you're going to play against a lot of Togekiss Dragapult. As we see just from these, 6 players that are on screen right now, you see so many Togekiss Dragapult. So yeah. It's, definitely a high caliber play to be able to pilot this to a victory, or even like such a high ranking top cut. So yeah, that's going to be it for top 4. Let's talk about Alessio. So he's another really well-known player, a really great player. So let's go ahead and look at this, team. So Togekiss Dragapult with Incineroar it also has the Excadrill, but he doesn't feature Tyranitar. So that takes away a little bit from the core, but the TED core is still intact. That gives you a Fairy Dragon Steel core that's really, really strong. Hits a lot of common Pokemon in the meta, while also just being good. It's also cool because you don't have to use Sandrush. You can use Mold Breaker, which is randomly good for things like Rotom Wash, which you see on his team, and like Rotom, because Rotom has Levitate and Mold Breaker ignores the ability, so you can still hit Rotom for super effective attack without it levitating. So that's really cool. Amoonguss on the team as well, which is really strong. And then we have Rotom Wash, which is interesting, but he has 2 forms of redirection. So he can go for Nasty Plot, like really, really safely, and then be an alternative max Pokemon, which is really, really good. So it's really good. Like, this team is very versatile in the like ability of Dynamaxing whatever you want and going for any move against certain teams. And with a Fairy Dragon or Fairy Dragon Steel core, any of those Pokemon can Dynamax, and then you also have, even Incineroar can Dynamax in the correct position and be very good. So, yeah, this is a really, really good team. The last one here on screen is Christopher's team, and it's going to be the Togekiss Cinderace. So he went for the Cinderace route, which is really, really strong, but has seen a little bit less play, mostly due to, like, Dragapult being able to, like, max Wormwind first, which is, kind of annoying, and he doesn't have any form of Tailwind. But he does have, Aurora Veil Ninetales, which is really interesting and really strong against like Tyranitar teams. It's just like good. I like the Ninetales a lot, and nothing else on his team really is fighting for Focus Sash, so he just gets to use Focus Sash Ninetales, which we saw that in like VGC 2017 being really strong, and I've been seeing it kind of recently. A lot of the time I'll see that on in my Players Cup 2 testing. I've seen a lot of Alolan Ninetales kind of out of the blue, and it's really really strong, and I'm interested to see it. Excuse me. Anyway, so yeah, the team is really strong. It also has Primarina and Ferrothorn without having a Trick Room user. So, you have a really strong team, like a really strong core against those hybrid Trick Room teams. And we're not really seeing any hard Trick Room teams. It's really just like hybrid teams with like a P2 Primarina or a P2 Ferrothorn or something. And yeah, it's really strong to have something for that. You definitely want to have something for that. A lot of players tend to go for Amoonguss instead, but it's still really worth like looking at. So yeah, awesome stuff, Christopher. Next we have Eduardo. So his team is the same as Dave Cogneta's. Like, they probably work together. I don't know if they did, but they probably did. So yeah, we have a lot of really strong things on this team. We already talked about it, but like P2 Primarina is really strong. Dragapult Terrakion is a really good fast engine. I'm sure he uses like coaching and stuff, but yeah, that can be like really cool. So yeah, awesome stuff. That's a great team. Incineroar Rillaboom is really, really reliable in the back, so that you can go like any of your modes. Trick Room, those Pokemon work really well because we have Grassy Glide and Fake Out, which is, very, very strong. You can stall out your own Trick Room teams Trick Room turns if you have to, and you can stall out Dynamax turns like pretty reliably as well. So that's really good. You have a lot of like defensive core switches, so you can play defensively and then go aggro when you need to. So it's just a really, really strong core. Next we have Julian's team. We'll just like scroll down one at a time. So here we see Toxtricity, which is really interesting. And it's probably the Gmax Toxtricity, but looking at his team, it looks like he probably won't be maxing that frequently. Mostly due to Dragapult and Gyarados. Both of those are, pretty common maxing Pokemon. Most likely Moxie Gyarados, but if not, it's still like Intimidate, which is still like a strong max, because Max Airstream on Gyarados is like really solid. And then also it just has like great coverage. But yeah, then we have like Dragapult, which is like really strong, and then Amoonguss as well. So, a pretty good mid-speed range there with like the Incineroar and Toxtricity, and then a Slow Boy for Amoonguss. So if you see like a common trend here is that you respect the Trick Room, and even if you're not a hybrid team, your team is pretty much a hybrid team. And yeah, so like Trick Room definitely has to be respected in this meta. So yeah, awesome stuff, Julian. Getting top 8 with Toxtricity is really interesting. So next we have 9th place, which, or not really 9th place, but really just like top 12. It's really top 16, but yeah, it's really cool. It's weird. They're like saying it's top 12 in this. It's a weird graph, but yeah. So this is a really cool team. So it has the GAC archetype, which is Gastrodon, Arcanine, and Corviknight. This is something we see a lot in Series 6, as it's really, really strong and has a good basic typing core, especially with the Amoonguss, so that you have that basic typing core of water, fire, grass, which is like, what you see most teams just opt for in like early metas and like late metas, just because it hits a lot of things like for super effective, which is really good. Granted though, Amoonguss probably doesn't have an attack for that, but still it might like it might have like energy ball or something. But yeah, seeing Dracozolt and Grimmsnarl in the Series 5 meta is really interesting. I mean, that's like, you know, something, both of those Pokemon are very popular in Series 6, but in Series 5, like, this just looks like a Series 6 team, right? Like, every single Pokemon is just a Series 6 Pokemon. It's interesting, but he piloted it to a top 16 finish at Players Cup, so yeah, obviously it's very strong. So yeah, good stuff to Antonio. Next we have Ben. So he also ran like kind of a hybrid team with the P2 and a couple of mid-speed Pokemon being Bisharp and the Rillaboom, but he also has Araquanid, which is really interesting. So Araquanid is a really weird Pokemon, so it's like very, very monotyping because of its ability Water Bubble that gives it 2 times damage for water type attacks, but it's also really, really slow, so it works really well under Trick Room, and it seems really strong against like Sun Core and stuff. But it's weird, actually, we didn't see any Sun Core in this top 16 finish, so that's, you know, something that's very interesting to me, because I just think like Gmax Venusaur is like absurdly strong, and it's pretty weird to not see it at all. But yeah, like, it's, you know, weird. We see one Sun Core and they aren't even playing Venusaur, they're playing Lilligant. It's so weird. But yeah, this team is very, very strong. He goes for the Togekiss Cinderace, which is really strong. A lot of players, you know, are kind of just like, okay, I'll kill the Cinderace, but if they open with Togekiss Cinderace, they have like options, as well as you know, being able to just go all in for the Cinderace. And Cinderace is like the best steel type, the best flying type, you know, in this meta. So it's really interesting to see that. But he also features the Bisharp, so that your opponent can't just like lead Incineroar into the Cinderace and make it like not that good. So yeah, you know, we've seen a lot of like Cinderace Milotic or Cinderace Bisharp, and it's really strong. And I definitely think that's something we can expect out of Players Cup 2 as well. Now that we had like the Series 6 kind of fiasco, I think a lot of players are, you know, opting to play for more Series 6-esque kind of things, but with, you know, adopting still old Pokemon like Cinderace that you can use. So like you would see like Dracozolt Bisharp in Series 6, or you know, strong physical attacker plus Bisharp. But now we're going to see the strongest physical attacker that we've seen in a while, that can be intimidated. Obviously Dragapult can't be intimidated, but yeah, it's very strong. Cinderace Bisharp is cool. Next we have Kaio's team. So this is another more standard team, but like very, very strong. So we have Togekiss Dragapult, which is good, but then we also have the hybrid team of P2 and Primarina, and then Incineroar as a great mid-speed Pokemon, and then Ferrothorn. So you have a Fire Water Grass core while also having a you know, Fairy Dragon Steel core, while also having a Trick Room hybrid team, while also having the most infamous you know, common fast core in the meta being Togekiss Dragapult. So this is a very, you know, flexible team that can really do well and makes sense to be piloted by like a really great player to a top 16 finish. So awesome stuff. Next we have Gabriel Legati, which is another you know, very commonly known player. Now a lot of these players that are, you know, from around the world, I'm sure are commonly known in their area, but you know, a lot of these names I'm not 100% sure I've seen before, but there's a lot of names out there. So not to take away from anybody's credit here, because everybody that top 16 this tournament is an insane player. So like an insane player. Anyway, Gabriel Legati playing an amazing team here as well, very similar to the team we just saw, with, you know, all of the same cores like Fire, Water, Grass, Fairy Dragon, Steel, while also having the fast typing of or the fast archetype of Togekiss Dragapult, but he also has Rotom, which is more fast than or like I guess faster than Primarina, but still like a really good option. He also has, you know, the Togekiss that can follow me while the other guy Nasty Plots, the Rotom Wash Nasty Plots. So that's really good. He has the you know, slow Pokemon being Ferrothorn and P2, and then the the Incineroar as a great mid-speed Pokemon to take advantage of those Trick Room turns. So yeah, awesome stuff. Gabriel Legati is a great player. So yeah, awesome finish. Next we have Alistair here. So Alistair is running that same team, which is very, very strong. Like I was just saying, I'm not going to explain it again because we just saw it, but yeah, it's very strong. Next we have David Kutesch, which is so he is a really interesting player, being that he plays really, like, he's a very good team builder. Very, like, his team is really strong, but it's not always like what you would expect. So of course we see Togekiss, that's something that you would expect in Rillaboom, but then he has Corviknight, which is not really a common pick in Series 5, and then also Cobalion, which is like really weird to see, and then Gyarados and Goodra, which are also like pretty weird to see in this team. he has like, it's very strong. There's multiple like steel type Pokemon and the Rillaboom. So he has like a big fire weakness, but he has like Gyarados, which is really good for that. And then also like Gudra, which is like pretty, flexible, being that it can be built like 9 different ways. So the team is really interesting and awesome stuff to pilot this to a top 16 placement, which is really cool. Next we have Giovanni, the second to last player here in top 16, so video is almost over. But yeah, this is what I was saying. He had Torkoal and Lilligant instead of Torkoal Venusaur. So this is the only Sun player that we saw, but it wasn't even using Venusaur. So weird, right? We see multiple Trick Room Pokemon, which isn't really an uncommon practice for like hard Trick Room teams, and this team is more so a hard Trick Room team. I mean, Drapion is like pretty fast, and so is Urshifu, but you can't really go for like hard Trick Room in this meta because there's just so many ways to stall out Trick Room and then be in an insane position. So essentially, like if you're up against a hard Trick Room team, you get one really strong turn at the beginning and then one really strong turn after Trick Room is set, guaranteed. And yeah, it can be pretty hard. You have to make those Trick Room turns amazing during it, which, there are teams that can do that and players that can do that. But yeah, I like flexibility in Series 5. I think it's a really good thing to have. As we've seen with a lot of these teams being like, Rotom Wash or Primarina plus P2 plus Ferrothorn plus a mid-speed Pokemon of Rillaboom or Incineroar. So like really, really good stuff. But yeah, Torkoal Lilligant is really interesting, and then Drapion is really, really interesting. So this is a really crazy team to see getting a top 16 placement. And yeah, it's like awesome stuff to Giovanni. That's crazy to pilot this team to his top 16 finish. Next, we have our last person in top 16, which is Joseph Ugart. Once again, a very good player as well. And yeah, Togekiss, Dragapult, Excadrill, Tedcore with the Sand Core as well, and Incineroar and Amoonguss. This is a team that we're pretty familiar with by this point. It's a very, very strong team. Hard to deal with, but playing those mirror matches are pretty insane. And yeah, Togekiss, Dragapult is really strong. Tedcore is crazy. Basic typing cores are good to have, while also have like, yeah, they're just good to have. So anyway, that was about it for our overview. So here's the final stream on this page. You have a lot of like different streams here. So if you want to, get familiar with some of these battles, go to this website, or victoryroadvgc.com. It's a great website. It's a great resource. I'll go ahead and link this, this page down below. So if this is something that you want to look at, do it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, comment, subscribe. The teams are awesome, and it's definitely a great thing to get familiar with, what people were using last Players Cup, since it's in the same format. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe, join the Discord, follow me on Twitter, and join the Patreon if that's something you are interested in. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend. Good luck in the Players Cup to those of you who are playing. If you're not playing, you should play, even if you're not going to win. Like, even if you don't think you're going to win, it's great play testing, and yeah, it's fun. So thanks so much for watching. Have a great weekend. Good luck.